So, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the current state of the Valorant MMR system, because honestly, the more I play ranked, the less the system makes sense to me. And I know people have been complaining about ranked forever, but recently it feels especially bad. Not because climbing is not possible, but because half the time it doesn't even feel like the game is rewarding players consistently. Your visible rank barely feels real anymore. You can win multiple games in a row, perform outstanding and still gain almost no RR, while one bad session suddenly tanks your RR gains for the next week. And the worst part is that nobody even fully understands how the system works, because of how much is based on hidden MMR. For context, I've got around 2000 hours in Valorant, and I'm currently Ascendant 1. So obviously, I'm not some Radiant analyst or a pro player or a coach. This is just coming from someone who genuinely grinds ranked quite a lot and has experienced the system firsthand. And honestly, ranked right now feels less like you're climbing normally and more like you're constantly trying to convince the game that you actually deserve the rank you already have. And if you disagree with anything I say, feel free to roast me in the comments, but let's just get into it. The biggest problem is that your displayed rank barely feels real anymore. In most competitive games, your rank is your rank. It's as simple as that. But in Valorant, you basically have two ranks. Your visible rank and your hidden MMR. And for some reason, the hidden one matters way more than your actual badge you see on the screen. That's why ranked feels so inconsistent. You can be the exact same rank as somebody else, but the game treats you both completely differently. One player gains 25 and loses 15, while the other gains 17 and loses 22, even if they're both in the same elo. And at that point, why do we even have a displayed rank if the game already decided you don't belong there? The worst part is that the system feels like it remembers every bad session you've ever had. Let's say 190 queue up a comp game and you're just off, you're missing shots, losing aim duels, you play like maybe 3 or 4 games in total, you have mediocre stats and eventually you just get off. In most competitive games, the next day is a fresh start, but in Valorant, it just feels like the system holds a grudge against you. The next day you come back, start winning again, maybe even perform well, and suddenly your RR gains are terrible while your losses are massive. It feels like the game already decided you don't deserve that rank anymore. And I can literally show this happening on my own account. Before, I was winning around 20 RR per win and losing maybe 17 or 18. That's pretty good. But now I'm getting 17 for a win and losing anywhere from 20 to 22 for a loss. How does that make any sense? And before anyone says, well, your performance matters. Yes, I know performance affects RR gains to some extent, but the system still feels completely inconsistent. If I can lose 20 RR for a mediocre game, then I should also be able to gain 20 for a really good game. But that almost never happens once your MMR is messed up. The game just decides your hidden MMR is lower than your current visible rank, and suddenly every match becomes an uphill battle. And this problem gets even worse the higher you climb. Let's look at some Radiant players like Horkus for example. This guy is absolutely owning Radiant lobbies, dropping insane games back to back against the best players on the server, and his RR gains still look terrible. So at that point, what exactly is the system even rewarding anymore? Because if someone is consistently outperforming the best players in the highest rank in the game, and the MMR still barely adjusts, then there's clearly something wrong with the system. The ranked experience right now just feels exhausting because it constantly feels like you're fighting the system instead of actually playing the game. Your displayed rank should matter, winning should matter, and consistency should matter. But instead, hidden MMR controls everything behind the scenes, and most players don't even fully understand how it works. The current state of Valorant's MMR system is honestly a mess, and competitive as a whole has its own problems too, but I'll cover that in another video. And the reason this actually matters is because ranked is supposed to feel rewarding. The whole point of a competitive system is to make players feel like their improvement is actually being reflected accurately. But when your RR gains and losses feel completely disconnected from how you're actually playing, ranked starts feeling like a chore. At some point, players stop focusing on improving and start obsessing over the hidden MMR instead, because it feels like the game already decided you don't belong there. That's a huge problem for a competitive game, because if players feel like their progress isn't truly in their control, then rank just becomes exhausting instead of enjoyable. So overall, I don't think the idea of hidden MMR is necessarily bad. A lot of competitive games use systems behind the scenes to balance matchmaking. The problem is just how heavily Valorant seems to rely on that compared to your actual visible rank. Right now, it feels like the game decides where you belong first, and then your RR gains are adjusted and trying to push you towards that decision, no matter how you're actually performing. And that's why ranked feels so frustrating for so many players, because when wins stop feeling rewarding and losses feel overwhelmingly punishing, climbing starts to feel less motivating and more exhausting. At the end of the day, players just want consistency. if I lose a lot for bad games, I should also gain a lot for good games. It's that simple. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the current state of the Valorant MMR system. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm coping because of ranked, or maybe Riot genuinely needs to reconsider how the system works. Either way, I feel like a lot of players are frustrated with competitive right now for the exact same reasons. So let me know what you guys think in the comments as well. Do you think the MMR system is actually fine, or does ranked feel completely inconsistent to you as well? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, because I'm probably gonna make more videos covering the meta, talking about ranked and the overall state of Valorant in general. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace.